What if the most powerful cancer-fighting compounds in the world were not locked inside a billion-dollar pharmaceutical lab, but sitting in the produce section of your local grocery store for less than the price of a cup of coffee? What if some of the most scientifically studied disease-fighting agents available today were foods you could start eating tonight? My name is Dr. Richard. I have spent more than 28 years working in preventive medicine and metabolic health, helping adults over 40 understand how nutrition changes what happens inside the body at the cellular level. Over the last 2 decades, I have worked with thousands of patients struggling with inflammation, cardiovascular disease, insulin resistance, and cancer risk factors that conventional approaches often ignored until it was too late. And listen to this carefully. Researchers from the National Cancer Institute reported that diets rich in cruciferous and deeply pigmented vegetables were associated with up to a 32% lower risk of several major cancers. 32%. That is not a footnote. That is a finding that should be on the front page of every newspaper. So, before we begin, I want you to do something simple. Drop your age in the comments below and tell me which vegetable you eat the most often right now. I read every single one, and I genuinely want to know where you are starting from. In today's video, I am going to walk you through the top 4 vegetables scientifically shown to suppress cancer pathways, lower inflammation, support detoxification, and help the body repair itself as we age. But this is not just a list. I am going to show you exactly why they work, the compounds responsible, the studies behind them, and most importantly, how to use them correctly, because most people are preparing these foods in ways that dramatically reduce their effectiveness. And stay with me, because the number 1 vegetable on this list does something no other vegetable has been shown to do at the same level. Oncologists are calling it nature's chemotherapy companion because of how aggressively it targets damaged cells while protecting healthy tissue. Do not jump to the end. You need the full picture to use this correctly. What comes in at number 4 is carrots. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Carrots? Really? The thing people toss into soup or hand to children as a snack. But when you understand what carrots do inside a cell, they are anything but ordinary. The compounds responsible are beta-carotene, falcarinol, and luteolin. Falcarinol in particular has fascinated cancer researchers because it interferes with inflammatory signaling pathways tied to tumor growth, especially the NF-κB pathway and oxidative stress cascades. In plain English, carrots help shut down the biochemical fuel lines that damaged cells rely on to multiply uncontrollably. And this becomes dramatically more important after age 50. After age 50, your body's endogenous antioxidant production declines by approximately 10 to 15% every decade. That decline increases DNA damage accumulation, weakens immune surveillance, and raises the likelihood that abnormal cells survive instead of being eliminated. A 2020 study from the University of Southern Denmark, published in Nutrients, followed over 57,000 adults and found that people consuming raw carrots regularly had a 17% lower risk of colorectal cancer. A 2019 analysis published in the International Journal of Epidemiology, reviewing multiple cohorts, found high carotenoid intake was associated with a 21% reduction in lung cancer risk among former smokers. And researchers from Harvard School of Public Health reported in the Journal of the National Cancer Institute that higher blood concentrations of carotenoids correlated with significantly lower rates of oxidative DNA damage. I remember a patient named Susan, a 63-year-old retired elementary school teacher from Columbus, Ohio. She came to me after repeated inflammatory bowel flare-ups and a frightening colonoscopy showing precancerous polyps. Her gastroenterologist told her she was headed toward increasingly aggressive interventions if things did not change. We implemented a nutrition protocol centered around raw carrots, cruciferous vegetables, and fiber diversity. Specifically, Susan consumed 1 medium raw carrot daily with extra virgin olive oil and pumpkin seeds to improve carotenoid absorption. At her 6-month follow-up, inflammatory markers had dropped substantially, her digestive symptoms had improved dramatically, and her repeat imaging showed no progression of the concerning tissue changes. Her gastroenterologist reportedly looked at her chart and said, "I did not expect to see this level of improvement without medication escalation. Ein Samenseker and Tao. Her case is not unique in my practice. It is representative of a pattern I observe repeatedly. Now here is the protocol. 1 to 2 medium carrots daily, ideally raw or lightly steamed. This is where most people make a mistake. Boiling carrots excessively destroys delicate polyphenols and reduces texture-dependent fiber benefits. Pair them with a healthy fat like olive oil because beta-carotene is fat-soluble. Without fat, absorption drops dramatically. And if raw carrots irritate your digestion, carrot puree or lightly roasted carrots are excellent alternatives. But carrots have another hidden advantage. Their carotenoids enhance antioxidant recycling pathways that prepare the body to better utilize the sulfur compounds in the next vegetable on this list. Stay with me. Begin with number 3, garlic. Again, it seems ordinary, almost too ordinary. But when you understand what garlic does inside human tissue, especially aging tissue, it becomes one of the most biologically active foods in the world. The key compounds are allicin, diallyl sulfide, and S-allyl cysteine. These compounds influence apoptosis, the programmed self-destruction of damaged cells, while also suppressing angiogenesis, the process tumors use to build new blood supplies. In plain English, garlic helps unhealthy cells self-destruct while cutting off their access to nourishment. After age 60, glutathione production, one of the body's master detoxification systems, declines by approximately 20 to 30%. That decline leaves the liver less capable of neutralizing carcinogens, environmental toxins, and chronic inflammatory compounds. A 2019 study from China Medical University, published in Cancer Prevention Research, followed over 4,500 adults and found that people consuming raw garlic at least twice weekly had a 44% lower risk of lung cancer. Researchers from the University of Adelaide published findings in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition showing garlic-rich diets correlated with significantly lower rates of colorectal adenomas. And a 2021 review in Frontiers in Oncology highlighted garlic's ability to activate caspase pathways involved in cancer cell death. I think about a man named Frank, a 68-year-old mechanic from Phoenix, Arizona. Frank had elevated inflammatory markers, persistent fatigue, and a family history of stomach cancer that terrified him. His diet was heavily processed, and he barely consumed fresh produce. I placed him on a protocol that included aged garlic extract twice daily, along with cruciferous vegetables and elimination of ultra-processed foods. 3 months later, his hs-CRP inflammatory marker had dropped nearly 40%, his energy improved noticeably, and his primary care physician reportedly asked him what he had changed because his metabolic panel looked like a different person. Her case, or rather his case, is not unique in my practice. It is representative of a pattern I observe repeatedly. Now here is the practical protocol. Crush or chop garlic and let it sit for 10 minutes before cooking. This step is critical because it activates the enzyme alliinase, which converts alliin into allicin. Most people skip this and destroy much of garlic's medicinal potential immediately by throwing it straight into a hot pan. Do not burn garlic. Excessive heat damages allicin rapidly. Light sautéing is ideal. And for people with digestive sensitivity, aged garlic extract provides many of the same benefits with significantly less irritation. And here is where things get fascinating. Garlic's sulfur compounds improve detoxification enzyme activity that directly enhances the effectiveness of the next vegetable on this list. If you are learning something valuable today, take 5 seconds right now to subscribe and like this video. Share it with one person in your life over 50 who deserves to know this information. Every share genuinely has the potential to change someone's future health trajectory. What comes in at number 2 is spinach. Most people think of spinach as simply an iron food. That barely scratches the surface. Because when you understand what spinach does inside mitochondria and vascular tissue, it becomes extraordinary. Spinach contains lutein, zeaxanthin, chlorophyll, quercetin, and nitrate compounds that improve endothelial function and reduce oxidative cellular stress. It also supports NRF2 activation, a master regulatory pathway involved in antioxidant defense and DNA repair. In plain English, spinach helps switch on the body's internal repair systems while lowering the oxidative chaos that accelerates disease. After age 65, mitochondrial efficiency declines by approximately 25%. That means your cells produce less energy and more damaging free radicals simultaneously. This is one reason cancer risk, cognitive decline, and cardiovascular disease all rise so sharply with age. A 2021 study from Rush University Medical Center, published in Neurology, followed 960 older adults and found that those consuming more leafy greens demonstrated cognitive function equivalent to being 11 years younger. A study from the Karolinska Institute published in Clinical Nutrition found nitrate-rich vegetables improved vascular flexibility and reduced inflammatory burden significantly in adults over 60. And researchers from Oregon State University reported that lutein-rich diets reduced oxidative stress markers tied to chronic disease progression. I had a patient named Margaret, a 71-year-old librarian from Asheville, North Carolina. She came to me after recovering from breast cancer treatment, feeling exhausted, mentally foggy, and frightened that her body was aging overnight. We built a daily protocol centered around spinach smoothies combined with olive oil, berries, and flaxseed. At her 4-month follow-up, her fatigue scores improved dramatically, inflammatory markers declined, and her oncologist reportedly told her she looked healthier than many patients 10 years younger. Her case is not unique in my practice. It is representative of a pattern I observe repeatedly. Now the protocol: 2 packed cups of spinach daily, preferably lightly cooked. This surprises people because raw spinach contains oxalates that reduce mineral absorption. Light steaming lowers oxalates while preserving critical nutrients. And please do not drown spinach in processed seed oils or heavy creamy sauces. That defeats the anti-inflammatory benefits. If spinach causes digestive discomfort, baby spinach or frozen steamed spinach tends to be easier to tolerate. Now here is the bridge to our number 1 vegetable. The chlorophyll and antioxidant compounds in spinach support detoxification pathways that amplify the activity of sulforaphane, the compound in the number 1 food on today's list. And now we arrive at number 1, broccoli sprouts. I need to address this question immediately because I hear it constantly. Dr. Richard, aren't broccoli sprouts just a health trend? No, not even close. The science here is profound. Broccoli sprouts contain extraordinarily high concentrations of sulforaphane, a sulfur-rich compound formed when glucoraphanin interacts with the enzyme myrosinase. Sulforaphane activates the NRF2 pathway more aggressively than almost any naturally occurring dietary compound ever studied. It increases phase 2 detoxification enzymes, suppresses inflammatory signaling, and enhances the body's ability to identify and eliminate damaged cells. In plain English, broccoli sprouts help your cells take out the trash before the trash becomes dangerous. And after age 50, this matters enormously because cellular detoxification efficiency declines significantly. DNA repair mechanisms weaken, chronic inflammation rises, and damaged proteins accumulate faster than the body can remove them. Now listen carefully to this. Researchers from Johns Hopkins University published groundbreaking work showing broccoli sprouts contain up to 20 to 50 times more glucoraphanin than mature broccoli. That is not a typo. A 2018 study, published in Cancer Prevention Research involving men at elevated prostate cancer risk, found sulforaphane-rich interventions altered gene expression linked to tumor progression. Researchers from Oregon State University reported that sulforaphane activated over 200 protective genes involved in detoxification and antioxidant defense. and a 2020 2020 review in Molecules described sulforaphane as one of the most potent, naturally occurring activators of cellular protection pathways ever identified. Now let me show you why this is not a coincidence. In regions of Asia where cruciferous vegetable consumption is dramatically higher, rates of several Western inflammatory diseases and certain cancers are 4 to 5 times lower in specific populations. Researchers repeatedly point to lifelong intake of glucosinolate-rich vegetables as a major contributing factor. This is not folklore. This is molecular epidemiology. I remember a patient named Daniel, a 59-year-old accountant from Seattle. He had severe metabolic syndrome, elevated inflammatory markers, fatty liver disease, and a terrifying family history of aggressive prostate cancer. We implemented a protocol including daily broccoli sprouts, garlic, olive oil, and resistance training. But the key was preparation. At his 6-month follow-up, his liver enzymes normalized, inflammatory markers dropped by nearly half, and his specialist reportedly told him, "Whatever you are doing, keep doing it." His case is not unique in my practice. It is representative of a pattern I observe repeatedly. Now, this is where most people completely sabotage broccoli sprouts. Sulforaphane has a massive bioavailability problem. If you cook broccoli sprouts aggressively, you destroy myrosinase, the very enzyme required to activate sulforaphane production. In other words, many people are eating broccoli sprouts in ways that render them almost entirely ineffective. So here is the 3-part solution. First, consume broccoli sprouts raw or only very lightly heated. Second, combine them with a myrosinase-rich food like mustard powder, radish, or arugula. Third, chew thoroughly. Mechanical breakdown dramatically increases compound activation. And here is the astonishing part. Studies have shown that adding mustard powder can increase sulforaphane bioavailability by up to 2,000%. That is not a typo. 2,000%. The ideal protocol is 1/2 to 1 cup of broccoli sprouts daily, preferably in the morning or early afternoon, with healthy fats like olive oil or avocado. If sprouts upset your digestion, broccoli sprout extract standardized for sulforaphane is the best alternative. And when combined with garlic, spinach, and carrots, the protective effects become far more powerful than any one food alone. Here is what most people fail to understand. These foods do not work independently. Carrots provide carotenoids that reduce oxidative stress and support cellular resilience. Garlic provides sulfur compounds that enhance detoxification enzymes and trigger abnormal cell death. Spinach delivers chlorophyll, nitrates, and lutein that improve vascular function and cellular repair. Broccoli sprouts provide sulforaphane that activates the body's master antioxidant and detoxification pathways. Together, they do not simply add up. They multiply. So let us rapidly summarize everything. Number 4, carrots. Rich in falcarinol and beta-carotene that suppress inflammatory signaling and protect DNA from oxidative damage. Number 3, garlic. Packed with allicin and sulfur compounds that activate detoxification and trigger apoptosis in damaged cells. Number 2, spinach. Loaded with lutein, nitrates, and chlorophyll that improve mitochondrial function and reduce inflammatory stress. And number 1, broccoli sprouts. The most concentrated dietary source of sulforaphane, activating powerful detoxification and cellular defense systems at the genetic level. At the end of the day, your future health is not decided in one dramatic moment. It is shaped quietly by what you repeatedly place on your plate, year after year, decade after decade. Your body is listening to every meal. And the remarkable thing is this: some of the most powerful tools for protecting your cells, supporting your brain, strengthening your immune system, and lowering disease risk have been available to you all along. Start small, stay consistent. Your future self will thank you for it. And until next time, take care of yourself. I will see you in the next one.